In 30 days, 38 days, he'll have to put action behind words, deliver victories. That's a lot harder than ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. We begin tonight with George Will, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for The Washington Post, NewsNation senior political contributor. Welcome back to the set, sir. Good to see you. At some point, is the left, and I think you see that with Gretchen Whitmer's comment, exhausted in their fight against Donald Trump?
I don't think they're exhausted. I think they're realistic, which is that the American people want to start with a clean slate. They want to say, past is past, let's see what he can do going forward. Everyone comes to the presidency bright as a shiny new dime, and almost everyone leaves tarnished. And the question is, can he keep this up? As you say, ringing the bell at the stock exchange, being on television, which he seems to enjoy, that's one thing. But he's already had one of his most important nominees for his cabinet, the Attorney General, turned down just like that. He's got 3 or 4 others who can be sunk by unanimous Democratic opposition and 3 or 4 Republican senators. The 2 women, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, and Mitch McConnell, who's a really dangerous guy now because he's got nothing left to lose.
McConnell unleashed. Well, it tells you MAGA world is now all in on hating Mitch McConnell. So it tells you they're worried. This is interesting. Presidential transition approval, CNN poll, 55% approve of Trump's transition. That's higher than the 46 he got in 2016, but lower than every other president dating back to Bill Clinton. Is it fair to say that Americans want their president to succeed?
Sure they do, because they understand that if he succeeds, and they understand it is making them happy and prosperous and peaceful, then they succeed. But the American people have a very low pain threshold now and very little patience.
Yeah, the patience issue is a key one, right? 38 days he becomes the president. January 20th, no matter what Donald Trump does, grocery prices don't suddenly go down. He's lowering expectations on that. But perhaps more importantly, how people feel about the economy is going to be basically the same. Does he inherit sort of all of those immediate problems, the feeling of disorder, or does the honeymoon phase last just a little bit longer than the transition?
A little bit longer, but on January 15th, there's a problem with the ports on the East Coast and Gulf Coast of the United States. They can bring the entire economy to a halt, and they have an extremely militant union leader.
Yep.
Now, five days of this will be the responsibility of Mr. Biden. Then all of a sudden, it's no more ceremonies, no more bell ringings. He has to govern. So we'll see.
Something that I've noticed, and I put it out as part of War Notes, which is our daily newsletter, warnotes.com to subscribe for free. Mr. Will does. Lots of other people do. You should at home as well. Nobody's moved to Canada. Nobody has started the Liz Cheney Defense Fund. Nobody, as far as I've seen since the election, has used the Trump is Hitler, his supporters are Nazis rhetoric. At some point, does Trump's election and how he's handling things now prove that all that was just that rhetoric and not sincerely held beliefs and fears?
I think the sheer extravagance of the hyperbole about him is going to look awfully silly. Again, Hitler never nominated the equivalent of Attorney General, and then the Reichstag said, no, we won't take him. No one ever saw that headline in Nazi Germany. The checks and balances are real. Federalism is real. And all of these things are restraints on the president that simply don't wither away because we have a new president.
They don't, although Donald Trump is doing things, and I think it's fair to say, that are unusual, right? All from ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. I think the last person to do that was Ronald Reagan, a man you have great admiration for. As he was walking around the floor with NYSE traders, they told him, "You're our guy." Is what's good for Wall Street good for working class paycheck-to-paycheck voters?
Probably. The stock market is a fair index of national economic health, and trickle-down economics happens to be real. That is, when big corporations are spending money, they're spending them on jobs and on investments and construction and all the rest. Sure. People made great fun of Engine Charlie Wilson when he came to the Eisenhower administration from General Motors and said what's good for General Motors is good for the country. Pretty true.
Pretty true. I guess, is that true now? What's good for Tesla is good for the country?
We're going to find out.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.